welcome to my channel, Blue Lotus Gardens. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Blue Phoenix, my pronouns are they, them. I make planting videos from my found knowledge and I share with you my experiences on what has worked for me and what has not. I also make a plant vlog on Wednesdays where I share behind the scenes of my plant shop, Blue Lotus Gardens in Fort Worth, Texas. If that's something that you are interested in, I recommend subscribing to my channel. If you can like my video, if that's still a thing, and then always look for the links down below for any more further info with anything related to the video. We'll get on to the video now. Alright, so I tried picking a top 3 favorite plant and I just couldn't. It was harder for me to like narrow it down. So here are my favorites that I've really enjoyed growing, sharing with others, and learning a lot from my experience. And so I'm going to share with you a little bit of their care requirements that I've learned from my found knowledge, and then also share with you just like little fun snippets of it and how I take care of them. So hope you enjoy. Alright, first one is my orchid. I have 3 orchids. Don't tell the other ones this is my favorite. They don't know. But I love it. I really enjoyed growing this orchid. It makes me feel more at ease if I tend to invest more into my shop. So I first want to know how I care for them, and in months and months and months, I used to really like kill orchids, and so now I have 3 and they're doing well. Here's the other one. There's this really big one as well. So they're ready for some repotting, and I'm definitely going to share with you those experiences. Definitely look on my vlogs. I share little like snippets of how I'm caring for them. I just received a little keiki from it, if I can find it. So this little dude was like somewhere up here, and it's growing. It's doing really well. It has little roots. So that's awesome. I have it in an orchid mix, all just orchid bark, and I have it in this little like plastic container that I put some holes into it. I didn't have any like orchid. I don't have any like orchid pots yet. So when I do, I'll definitely repot it into that. But this is my favorite orchid right now, and they're really easy to care for. So I have it in this little pot that it's in. I water it only until it gets really, really dry. And you'll notice, because like all the aerial roots, I guess, they'll look a little bit more like grayish, a little more like gray tint to it. See if you can see that. But those are the roots. You see how nice they look. They're really healthy. It definitely needs a repotting, as I said. They're all like popping out, and that's fine. From what I was learning from the channel Miss Orchid Girl, that I really learned a lot from her, and so I only water it with distilled water, and then around the base only, so that way the crown of the plant doesn't get wet, and if it does, you just get a little cloth or towel in there and just dry it up. Right now, currently, it's in this little area, but it's usually like around some sort of like indirect light to it. This is an east-facing window, and so that's where I keep it. But I've really been enjoying caring for orchids. These orchids were actually like donated by a neighbor, so I really appreciate it because like I learned a lot from it. So thank you. Next, we are getting into Dischidias. I think Dischidias are something that are underrated. Like, there's so many cool ones out there. I don't understand why they're not like Dischidias. You know, like they're so cool. This is my little Dischidia. It's Dischidia species AFF burtoniae. That's what it is. But I'll still put it on the screen so y'all can like know. But this is what it is. It's a semi-fast grower vining plant. Its leaf has a velvety purple undertone to it. It doesn't really complement well with its like nice green dark foliage. I think it's great, and it's one of those plants that you just like kind of want to always like have around because it's so easy to care for, and it's really pretty, elegant. It's very almost velvety, but it's not. It's just really soft, really pretty. But and then this was like these little like cuttings were like donated by also another neighbor of mine, so I really appreciate like all the amazing like community support that's been out there. And what I've been doing is like propagating them and putting them on my Patreon and sharing them with people like that. And there's just so much more to offer on there. Here is the other one. You might have seen it in my other videos, and I've just recently found out it's a Dischidia. There's just so many out there, and then so hard sometimes to tell. They do flower. That burtoniae flowers, from what I've known. It's like stinky, but we will see. I should get a trellis. I'm definitely gonna start trellising more of my Hoyas and my Dischidias. I want to specialize more in Hoyas and Dischidias and Orchids and Begonias and just more of like the things that I really like fell in love with, and I want to share them with you all. There's so much more should like come, but look at this amazing, beautiful Dischidia with its nice little like green foliage. It's a waxy foliage, so it is more like a succulent leaf. It's like a miniature Australis lisa without the like dark green tone to it. It's really cute. It's really pretty. It grows really fast. You don't need to water it really like often. It likes to go a little dry, and especially in the wintertime, you don't want to water your plants as much as you did in the previous seasons because it will cause them to like rot. So you gotta be careful. Next, I like to step into Syngoniums. These are, for my Patreon members out there, you will be seeing this in the upcoming month. Your plants will be they'll be ready. But this is what I'm featuring for my Patreon members is a Syngonium plant. This is a Wendendlii, and I'll put it on the screen also so y'all can see. It has this nice like velvety foliage with this like really beautiful like inner white margin. Just super pretty. It's almost like silvery, and the leaves are like very like crinkly almost, and they look very distinctive as you see how it's growing. But I keep it semi-moist. I keep the soil semi-moist, and then I have like 3 or 4 different propagations of them going on right now, and I have one other one where they're just like little tiny nodes, and I put them in sphagnum moss, and so they're doing really well in there. So that way I can share with you all. They are kind of like semi-fast growers from a node. You just gotta put in like a high humid environment for them to pop out. But when they're like this, you want to just keep it in a semi-moist substrate. Mine is like more. This is like the soil that was that it came with. I haven't messed with it, so because it's still December and I don't want to repot it yet. So I just want to make propagation from it, and then eventually I'll repot it into a bigger home. I think that's what it needs. But it needs like also bright indirect light. It can do well in like semi-low light areas for a short period. I will notice a little drooping if I keep them in a low light for a little too long, so I wouldn't do that. But these are gorgeous. I am like falling in love with plants all over again. You know, like whenever you start to like get so attached to one genus of a plant and then you start to branch out and you're just like, there's so much more. Next is, I invested in a little wish list plant, and it's still growing, it's still young, but here it is, the one, the only, the Monstera Esqueleto. And you can tell by the long foliage so it has this nice long foliage. It also has this like curly like outer part to the foliage. So that's how you know when it's going to start to like fenestrate really high well. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just allowing it to like start to get into its like mature state, and then I'm just kind of like propagating it from there once it starts to reach up to here, and then I'll start to propagate it like that. So that way they're not like starting off again in like super juvenile form, because like when they're like very young, they look like this, right? So dainty and very cute, but we want them to look at their most potential, and this is like, it's getting there, and it's starting, you know, this is like the very early beginnings of it, but I'm noticing like some of its like mature patterns arriving, and I think that's great. This is one of the monsteras that does like to be a little bit more moist, so I do kind of bottom water it a little bit more often. I do kind of like let it dry out a little bit, and it is in my grow tent because I'm scared to like leave it out. Like there's some, that's why it's there. But from what I know, it does very well in like bright indirect light, a south-facing window, a west-facing window, and an east-facing window. But I am in zone 8, I believe, so that's what works for me. But yeah, it's one of like my wish list plants, like I said, from a long time ago. When I watched like Kaylee Ellen's video, and I was just like really into it, and I did a lot of research, and I just really wanted to like wait till I could find some sort of way to like afford it and purchase it and take a little investment towards it. You know, like you just, that's how I see it. There's so many. I hope this is like great and you're all enjoying it. Next, I want to show the sixth plant. The sixth plant. Okay, is the one, the only, the beautiful Hoya Krinkle 8. I can't come to bear to propagate this plant more than I have already. Just took 2 little side propagations. But I just can't, y'all. So I have it trailing, and then I thought it was gonna bloom or do a little peduncle for me. I don't know. It's still really pretty. I really enjoy it, and I think what's really funny is like I didn't like this plant at all, and now I'm just like, I don't want to propagate it. It's so pretty. It's so crinkly and nice, and look at the little foliage it puts out when it's starting to like so it's so baby and it's just really cute. I'm in this like airy potting mix, and it's also on this jute pole because it's in my grow tent, and because I want it to just keep on growing. I do every now and then. I just pop it in like the behind me, and and that's like it just gets like that bright indirect light from there, and it does well. But yeah. This is the Hoya Krinkle. It likes to be a little like on the drier side, so I do a bottom watering every so often, really. And with Hoyas, like from what I've learned from my experiences, most of them can really like take a drying out period, and they don't like to be like wet. I think when you like dry them out, they get stressed out a little bit, so they put off more growth, and that's I think that's what I've like seen and noticed. Okay, next, my little special begonia. I have to share this with y'all. This is just the propagation of it, and then I'll do a video of where are they now of all the other begonias that went dormant, and some of them are actually growing. One of them, like they're all actually growing and showing growth. So I do keep this in my grow tent, but I also leave it out every now and then. I keep the soil like relatively moist, really, because it is in a more packed soil mixture. But let's take a close up of that. Oh, it's just so beautiful. This is the Begonia Taconie. This is from one of my leaf propagations that I've done in vermiculite, and so it goes from there, and then once it's ready and stable, I put them into a little container, and they start to just grow. I do sometimes forget about them, because then if I don't, I will overwater it.
The next day.
Okay, so I have 3 more plants to show you all that I want to share with you, that I'm really enjoying growing as well, and then learning from, so that way I can also like share my knowledge with you all that I have obtained. So the first one is this nice little variegated Philodendron Marx. And what's really nice about this one is it has like very stable, it has really nice stable variegation to it. And then I just noticed these nectarines are showing up more. As you can see that, nectarines on the philodendron are where they have like this little pocket that exudes a little bit of like sugar substance out from the plant. It has like a symbiotic relationship with plants. Usually that's how they feast on pests. But it could also be detrimental to the plant. It just depends on, the symbiotic relationship that they have out in the wilderness. But that is something to just kind of like nerd out about. And I love philodendron for that and all their little like funny, funky growing patterns. I think it's just so fun. And it's surrounded in moss at the moment. Moss really helps the aerial root stabilize itself, especially after you propagate it, so that way you have a more success rate in propagating your plant. You can find these at my store. They're something I've just like really been invested in, and that's why you all haven't seen me a lot. It's just I've been doing this, and then also like customer service with and technical support stuff. Next, I want to share with you all a fun variety. I'm trying to like block the sun so y'all can see. This is a fun variety of a string of hearts. This is the Orange River variety. Once it grows, you might see this on like my Facebook and stuff like that. And on my Instagram at times. I'm trying to do new things with this also, but the Orange River variety has this nice little like orange tint to its foliage, the underleaf of it, and then the mature leaf looks very like kind of almost plasticky. Like if it was just like almost like a faux, but I really enjoy it. I think it's one of the more fun varieties of string of hearts out there. We all see the variegations and different patterns of it like that, and I think it's just something to highlight. You know, there's an Orange River string of hearts. Next, I have this little, that's a little atabapoense, and so this is a top cutting of it right now. I'm just trying to make sure it doesn't jump out of the sphagnum moss again. But as you see here, it has this really beautiful foliage to it, and it's just doing really nicely. I personally love it, and it has like new growth on it, and this leaf that's about to unfurl. Inside of it also has like a new growth point coming out of it, so it's just really doing really well. Its roots and everything. It's definitely something that I'm learning how to care for, because it is a more like higher humid plant. So I have it here in sphagnum moss with like it's moist, and then also I have it in my grow tent, so it's in there and just enjoys like a nice humid environment in there as well. So it's definitely like more of a collector's item, I would say. So if you're into like horticultural, and you're just really into like plants, the atabapoense is definitely something that you want to like look into, just kind of like see if it's something that you might really like enjoying growing yourself. Just look at that beautiful back leaf. That's so beautiful. Gently place it down, back away, don't fall. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining me on my just sharing with you some of my favorites plants that I've been growing, and kind of like getting in touch with y'all a little bit. I know I've been a little bit out of post-uploading videos, but just been really busy with the shop and trying to make sure that everything's like working well. So I would just want to say thank you all for supporting me on all different various platforms, Patreon, YouTube, my website, and more. Like everything has been so amazing. Like you all are great for all the help that you all have been giving me, and I really appreciate it all. Like this is awesome. And overall, we're just really building a fun planting community, and you all can join me on my Discord group, where I share a little bit more like what's going on a daily basis, and then some fun plant sells and trades that go on there. But yeah, y'all have a great day. Thank you again. Bye everyone. Peace.